What's up, everyone? I'm Shafi Malik, and you're listening to the Who Dropped the Popcorn podcast. The premise is simple. One of us picks a film that we know the others haven't seen. We all come together here to discuss it. Joining us tonight is Dave McHugh.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Andy Newlands.
Oh, Carolina, come on.
And all the way from the somewhat north of England, Kyle Hammond.
Rufio.
Oh, wow, so that Peter Pan.
Here's a warning, God. We'll be going into heavy spoilers for this film. We suggest you watch the film before listening to this. Here's another warning. This film deals with the subject matter of suicide and grief. So if those themes are trigger points, we suggest skipping this episode and listening to the next one.
So, Shafi, you were the designated chooser of the film, I believe, last time we recorded. Please, may you remind the viewers what you chose?
Okay, thanks for that, Andy. So I have chosen 2009's World's Greatest Dad. The reason why I chose it is because it is, I think it's a very underseen and underrated film. And yeah, I feel like not enough people talk about this film. I thought it'd be a good choice for us, considering we were born in the early 80s. So then when it came to us being around about 10, 11, 12 years old, Robin Williams was the sort of height of his fame, and his most popular sort of family films were basically, we were the target audience for those films. So I think those films are kind of embedded in our childhood in one way or another. You know, if you were sort of watching those like family films at that age.
God, you're so clever. It's unbelievable. I love listening to you so much.
Oh, thanks.
Fucking hell, Andy, why don't you just put a belt round his neck and just wank him off? Jesus.
It is good though.
Let's address the elephant in the room, which
also
is
erotic asphyxiation.
It's the fact that knowing what we know about Robin Williams and how he actually died.
I know.
It is quite a hard watch, this film, I think.
I know.
At times
right.
it is. I mean, it is really, I think it's one thing I think is hilarious, the film. I think it's like a really sort of sharp script, and I think it does all the right things. And I think it takes like a really skillful director to keep a consistent tone from beginning to end. And I think this is a film which, in the hands of a lesser director, the film could get too serious and make people feel too uncomfortable, or kind of be too glib, kind of annoy people, you know, where I think this balances the tone consistently from beginning to end. So I think it's a really sort of skillfully made film. And the fact it's consistently funny, even though it deals with tough subject matter. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's a really good film. That's kind of why I chose it. But yeah, that's why I chose it. So Andy, do you want to recap the film, please?
Hey, what's that you say? It's Andy's articulate analysis.
Yes, and I'm going to do this in a very formal way because I want to respect this film. So, this is the plot. Lance Clayton is a dad, a single father, and he's a teacher, and his passion is writing. But all his previous works, novels, have been they've been rejected from publishers. He's got a teenage son. I guess he's around 15, 16, something like that. And his name's Kyle. And Kyle is a sex-obsessed underachiever. Oh, sorry, I need to talk about the character. So Kyle is a sex-obsessed, just student and he's a student where his dad teaches, and his dad I think his dad teaches maybe some classes, but it's basically the film just centers around at the beginning this very unpopular poetry class, and then basically Kyle's poor performance at school and his general disgraceful behavior, vile behavior, gains the attention of the headmaster. And then it gets to the point where they're thinking of transferring Kyle to special needs school. The dad is seeing one of the female teachers at the school, which is I'll go into a bit later. And basically, they go out for a meal, and at this meal, the son is taking pictures under the table of her knickers. And God almighty, then the film takes a right turn. There was a scene earlier in the movie where the dad walks into Kyle, and Kyle is having a wank whilst he's got a belt round his neck in some sort of...
We're still talking about the film, right? We're still talking about the film.
Yeah. We're still talking about the film, yeah.
Okay.
In some sort of late 90s conservative party orgy. So you know that he's into this sort of thing, and then oh, fucking hell, at this part of the film, the dad gets home and he's done it again, but he's died. He's dead. And then to salvage his son's dignity, Lance, who's the father, stages Kyle's death as a suicide. And this is what Shafi was talking about before. He then hangs, oh God almighty, it's so mental. He hangs Kyle in a closet. And then he writes this fake suicide note. And then here the film goes off on just a fucking wonderful adventure. Lance then finds his audience through like this suicide note. And then it's just a comical satire on the madness of like high school America and like, you know, emotions and group, you know, I want to talk about Princess Diana later and like mob mentality and all the rest of it. And all of that sort of stuff. But like, essentially it just gets so big. Like Lance ends up on television. He then like starts going further and further into this sort of mad world where he's like writing a journal which he pretends to be Kyle's, and there's and madly Kyle's got this mate called Andrew, actually, thinking about it. This is nuts. And Andrew's like, I'm not really sure what's going on here.
At one point, Andy, you were a vegetarian as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's just a lot going on. There's just like little subplots going on. There's this like other teacher who's into Lance's girlfriend, and you're never really sure like what is going on. Like, is this relationship even real? Is it mad? Then there's a neighbour who's a hoarder who's like they just start smoking pot together and stuff, and it's just lovely. It's a lovely story. Like I kind of was like, fucking hell, this could be a play on the West End if they did this right. It's just superb. So and then at the end there's TV shows. There's like an interview on Oprah. That scene we need to talk about a lot because it's Robin Williams at his finest. There's two scenes in this I want to talk about later.
I agree. I think that's one of the best like scenes he's ever done. I think
it's unbelievable.
That television interview.
It's just fucking unbelievable. So that one, and then when he finds his son, I'm still now even talking about it, affected by that. I haven't been affected by a scene in a movie like I was with that for a very, very long time, particularly being a parent. It's next level. And then at the end, essentially, he like comes clean and he's like, actually, none of you liked Kyle and he died whilst wanking. And then it's glorious. And then basically it's a 10-minute ending of how I would like to leave my job when I retire, just running out the building, taking the clothes off, finding the nearest swimming pool and diving it. It's glorious. So World's Greatest Dad could be one of the greatest films we've had on Who Got the Popcorn. It's great.
Nice. Thanks, Andy. That's well summarized. So Kyle, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I didn't know anything about it. I did what you said, don't Google it. So, yeah, I didn't Google it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, some people were giving the synopsis straight away, saying, there's one review, actually, one strapline of the review said, this is actually a really good comedy. And then said, actually, it's one of the best comedies about asphyxiating yourself until you die while masturbating.
How long have you been into this, Kyle?
No, I really enjoyed it. Just the first act, I'm just like, who the fuck is this prick? Honestly, what a dick. Honestly, it made me regret having children. If my children end up like this prick, honestly.
He did make you laugh, right? He did make you laugh.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't write them down. In fact, I might bring them up later on, but some of the one-liners he comes out with. Oh,
sorry to interrupt you, but just to say, Shafi, again, I watched this film with Jen, and again, she thinks you're fucking mental. And unfortunately, she fell asleep just like in the last 20 minutes or so. She never saw like the redemption. So again, it's just right. Shafi is now showing my mate's wanking movie. So sorry, sorry to interject that.
Apologies to Jen then. Sorry to have.
The one-liners that Carl comes out with are they're on par with Riders of Justice.
I tell you what, one of my favourite lines is when Robin Williams comes into the bedroom, and both Andrew and Carl are working on the homework, and then he said he's kind of going through his homework, and he's like reading a line saying the moisture in the weather causes
perspiration.
Perspiration. He goes, well, that actually means sweat, Kyle. I think you mean precipitation. He went, no, I actually meant sweat. Okay, cool, nice. So you enjoyed it, Kyle?
Yeah, great film. Thank you.
Nice one. Cool. How about you, Dave?
Yeah, man, I loved it. I thought I didn't know anything about it when I was going to watch it, but I'd been wanting to watch this for a while. And when I first started watching it,
why did you want to watch it for a while? What about it?
Because I just kind of knew that I'd dig it. Yeah, I certainly did dig it. When I first started watching, I thought it was going to be like a sort of melancholy comedy about how horrible life can be, even if you're rich and successful and living in the West. Maybe not rich, but you know what I mean. And maybe it was just going to be about kind of sadness of loss and stuff, but not the loss of being in a war-torn country, but just as in you lose your family because they're barking or you divorce and stuff. So I thought it was going to be like a kind of weatherman-y kind of feel or happiness kind of feel, one of those sort of films. And yeah, it didn't quite go that way. It went, like you said, obviously at the point where he dies, it takes a big, big turn. And I just thought it was brilliant. Like you say, it just kept tonally perfect the whole time. It was tonally perfect throughout the entire film without ever getting too light or too heavy. It was just fucking brilliant. And I literally, during the reveal at the end, I just laughed out loud because I was worried it was going to be sort of discovered by the police or something. But it just confessed.
Or Andrew and Mike.
He was a douchebag. And it was just wonderful. And like you say, that's how I want to leave every job, just walking out with everyone looking at me like I'm the worst human being in the world. And you just walk out. Bye.
One of my favorite parts during that scene is when it's so well directed. He goes, Kyle died while masturbating. And then there's a shot of a girl and she looks down at a t-shirt with his face on, as if it's the most disgusting thing, as if she's like, as if like someone actually wanked on that t-shirt. She was like, oh my God, that's gross. One thing is that I noticed kind of rewatching it is that every time like there's a shot of Kyle like before he dies, like there's a close-up of Kyle. I think they intentionally made him look sweaty. They intentionally made him look gross. They, you know, but he's really good. Yeah, that actor is really good. That actor is brilliant. And
was that the end of his career? Did no one ever want to work with him? It's just like, no, he's just too convincing.
Have you guys watched Spy Kids?
No, he's the kid in Spy Kids.
He's the kid.
He's a kid in Spy Kids. Yeah.
Watch Spy Kids again now after watching that.
Andy did mention regarding sort of like the themes that this film sort of talks about. I think, you know, one of the things that you did, Andy, you did mention mob mentality. I think it's something it sort of brushes upon is like how fickle public perception can be. Like, I mean, I think it's quite timely considering there was someone who got up on stage and slapped someone in the Oscars, and somehow, you know, there's been this kind of hate mob where, you know, something like that.
Someone who also played the genie in Aladdin.
Someone who also played the genie in Aladdin. Yes, that's right. And
holy shit!
You know, it's interesting the way that these people, they can easily sway their kind of opinion on someone just based on like one thing. So you know, no one sort of stood back and go, you know, it was only the best friend that went, hold on, this is nothing like the person that we know.
He was an idiot. What are you on about? Yeah.
Another favorite line of mine. He goes, I read Kyle's journal, and there's no references to masturbating, felching, and shitting, and then Ron Williams replies, "Yeah, it's a bit low on the felching department, isn't it?"
But it's in there.
But yeah, it's interesting that like no one sort of thought about, wait there, this is not consistent with the person that I know. But Andy, you said you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, no, you've basically just exactly taken the thoughts out of my head and said them there. It just made me think, like, fucking hell, like, people are so thick sometimes, and like that, just like when all the kids are going to the poetry class and some of their poems are the worst poems I've ever heard in my life, and yet everyone's clapping and this is amazing stuff, and it's like, no,
period one,
it's Jesus. Not the period one. Like, what the fuck is that all about? Oh my god!
Remember the black boy in the kind of earlier when it's kind of when it's like an empty class and he goes, why can't we give love, give love, give love, give love? He goes, that's David Bowie and Queen. Yeah, I know that song. And he goes, how do you know? He goes, I'm white.
And then they played it at the end, didn't they, when he jumps off the diving board? Yeah.
I think, I mean, especially it's quite timely now because people had an opinion on Johnny Depp, and now all this kind of stuff is coming out. People have there's kind of huge kind of support behind him and all that. And the thing is that but as I said, like, we can't somehow nuance isn't really invited into these things. It's either one thing or another. And talking about this film, that's what it is. It's either, hold on, we don't have to kind of worship this person. We can say, well, evidently there were good qualities about him, but also the guy walked past the girl and said that pussy isn't going to eat itself.
God almighty.
I mean, I think the principal summed it up. He's like, I thought he was just not very intelligent, but he was bored. He's actually a genius. It's like, there's no in between. It's one or the other, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't really. It's either for and against. You can't. It's kind of like how Andy watches a film. He either loves it or hates it.
It's exactly that. I'm such an idiot. Well said, though.
So but what did you want to say about Princess Diana?
No. Yeah, it was just sort of saying, like, I don't have any evidence of this, but my personal view is, like, I'm not, Diana was very famous and all the rest of it, but when I look back now at the videos and I'm like, who are these geezers that are coming out of the office and they're outside the palace crying their eyes out over a person that they never met?
Yeah.
I just don't, that emotional connect, like, and the scale of it. And I'm not slagging Princess Diana off, but again, Princess Diana wasn't just a shining light.
You don't know.
She did lots of things. You don't know.
Exactly,
but it was just the whole country just seemed to, on reflection, lose their minds for a bit. And it was just this emotion, that just this energy that just fed through. I think it's actually one of the most interesting mass cultural phenomenons I've ever seen in my lifetime. This just like this wave of emotion that took the world, basically. Like, it's really interesting when you look back and, like, Christ, that was as close as the monarchy came to toppling. The Queen was a few days away from essentially the majority of the public saying, no, like, we're done with you.
Yeah.
Over someone that most of these people, hadn't met. It's crazy. And so I was just linking that back to the film. It's just insane that, like, a few deep and meaningful words are in a suicide note, a journal comes out, and then all of a sudden the goth is in love with Kyle. The jocks are now coming out as, gays, which is no problem. That's who they are. But they're also in love with Kyle. Every type of school pupil is in love with Kyle, who's essentially one of the biggest cunts I've ever seen on
He's just the worst, man. Really is the worst.
It's fucking mental.
Into Shiza porn and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. He's like, I definitely shit on her. Are you, what the fuck? And the guy's like, there's something wrong with you. Like,
he's like perving on the next door neighbour's, like, little bit of cleavage show. And she's like, 70 odds. Oh, God.
Yeah.
And
Kyle is a pervert.
Also, he doesn't like anything, right? I mean, you know what? Possibly he did. Possibly that was a facade that he had to his dad because he didn't want to sort of connect to his dad. So he's like, I don't like films. I don't like music.
Yeah, they're so gay. Sports is gay. Films is gay.
Yeah, exactly, because it's gay. Yeah.
Kyle is the worst person. God. It really was just terrifically written, wasn't it? It's incredible and wonderfully played.
It is a very good script.
Because I didn't read anything about it, Shafi. It was only when the credits popped up and it said directed and written by Bobcat Goldthwait. I knew he was a stand-up, and I knew him from Police Academy. Has he done anything else? What has he been doing since Police Academy, basically?
He basically directed quite a few like stand-up things. I think he directed like maybe a couple of Dave Chappelle's like stand-up shows, and I think he directed like Jimmy Kimmel like for a while. Okay. And so he's like consistently been working. But then also, Andy, you brace yourself, he made a found footage Bigfoot film as well.
Oh my God, which one was that?
I don't think I haven't seen it, but I don't think you see Bigfoot in it though. I might be wrong, but it's a proper horror film.
Is it Willow Creek?
It's not.
Yeah. Oh my God, mate.
Yeah.
Willow Creek.
Is that the one you've seen?
Yeah, so I'm just thinking, I've seen, I think this is the one where like, it turns out that like the campers, like the Bigfoot are killing the men and taking the women and then breeding with the women. Because this might not be Willow Creek, but that in itself, like, I don't know how it gets any more mental than that. Like,
right.
Oh my God.
Well, this is a found footage film. I haven't seen that. No.
We need to watch a Bigfoot movie. Let's do that in the next. I might change my choice actually.
Harry and the Henderson. He directed Maron. I've been meaning to watch that.
Is that the Mark Maron?
Mark Maron show, yeah, the sitcom, yeah.
Yeah. He made a film called Sleeping Dogs Lie, which is about bestiality.
Fucking hell, he goes hard on subjects, doesn't he?
It's fucking yeah. Let's who was everyone's favourite Police Academy member? I think we all know. I think it's one person, which I think we all. I think it's Jones, right? It's Jones, what's his name?
Yeah. The guy with the voice.
I can't remember what the actor's name.
Michael Winslow. I didn't even have to Google that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's to be honest, like, as kids, that was just, we didn't really give a shit about the rest of the film. It was just like that character, just getting excited about that character.
I was thinking how hard it would be to sit down and watch every Police Academy back to back. That would just be a grim day.
I actually like Moses Hightower.
That, I think. Mm-hmm. Who's that?
Hightower.
Who's Moses Hightower?
The big geezer.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so, sorry, my Police Academy knowledge is pretty fucking up there, but the guy that Thaddeus Harris, so he was the first kind of on-screen dopey villain that I fell in love with that type of character. Like, look these guys up as soon as you see their faces, like
Captain Harris. Oh my God,
yeah. Remember him?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
classic characters. Like,
what's the Blue Oyster Club that they always go
to? Exactly. Oh my God, I love it all. Debbie Callahan, one of the first ladies I ever fell deeply in love with. And I think Dave's based his whole life on Eugene Tackleberry, just to say.
100%.
He was the one with the guns, if anyone wants to know.
Yeah.
Oh God, I am going to sit down and watch them all back to back, actually.
How has this film gone through Willow Creek, Police Academy, and Princess Diana?
It's all Bobcat Goldthwait, isn't it?
It's the eclectic mind of fucking Bob.
Yeah, because he's the limo driver, isn't he, as well? It's like
yeah. Did you see the other cameo? So when he's at the newsstand and he sees all the poor and he starts crying.
That's the bass player from Nirvana, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. Chris Novoselic.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, apparently he's mates with Bobcat Goldthwait, so obviously, and they filmed it in Seattle as well. So yeah, it's a little.
And
cameo.
that scene is like brilliant as well. The fact
it's like gold, isn't it?
He's looking at porn and he's just basically crying because he's remembering his son. Grace is. But yeah, going back to like that final scene, not the final scene, but the scene where he's on television. It's so good, right?
It's amazing.
Like, so good. Like he's basically like laughing because he just realizes how ridiculous everything is. And I think that's sort of like him coming to terms or going, this is just this has gone too far. And
I saw that as a nervous laugh because when I'm nervous, I like a job interview. I like try and crack jokes and laugh.
Nah, it wasn't nervous.
The other day, like when my wife was telling off my son, my daughter was just like proper laughing. I'm like, why are you laughing? She's like, I don't know. Just nervous, just weird, man. Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was just like a nervous laugh.
No, I'm with Shaf. That was him. That was an internal battle. Like,
I think at that point he's like, okay, this lie is coming to an end now. Like, this is all because this is just ridiculous. I mean, let's talk about his girlfriend was kind of like a very, I don't know, for me it was like an awful character, and she was like in that in preparation of that television.
Oh God, yeah.
He asked like, when is the camera going to cut to me? It's like, well, why would it fucking cut to you?
Yeah,
like and I think
she gave the book the worst title, like just so thick. Like, it was funny actually. Like talking of her, that their relationship, like about 20 or 30 minutes into the film, I was kind of like thinking like, where is this film going? Like I was almost like, this relationship seems too fake. And like, is it in his mind?
I was thinking you're proper punching, mate. That's what I get to thinking.
Yeah, it was just nuts. I don't know if you noticed the scene as well. It was when I think the character's called Mike, the other teacher that's kind of likes her.
Yeah.
So they're in like the cafe or whatever, and like Lance is on the left, Mike's on the right, and there's like a little bit of a like scuffle, not physical, but like the shadows. Like, you should have a look at that show. The way it's shot, there's like this shadow dance going on of the girl in between both of the characters.
Oh, interesting.
Did you pick up on that?
No, I didn't see that. No.
All right, go back and have a look. It's mad. No. Honestly, it's worth looking at.
The only weird bit of directing or artistic director that I kind of spotted was where Lance is in the classroom and I forgot her name. His girlfriend walks in, and they're other ends of the room, and the camera like pans between them back and forth.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Just showing the distance between them? I don't know what the artistic.
Yeah, I know. So there were a few bits like that. And then the weird thing is, it's a normal film for a bit, and then all of a sudden, like, Kyle turns up as a ghost for about
That's what I was going to say.
I was like, what the fuck? Where is
so it's like different people reacting to the suicide note.
But I felt all the mad stuff started happening after Lance started smoking weed for a bit. As soon as he started smoking weed, the film got a little bit more trippy.
Yeah.
No, right,
and I thought, that's maybe he's kind of taken a turn.
But then he did smoke weed before he died, though, didn't he? Because he was outside in his window smoking weed, and he told his neighbour.
Yeah, you're right.
He told his neighbour to
asked his dad, "Are you high?" Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that is right. Yeah.
So that guy, what was he called? The black friend, rival, Mike. Yeah. Nerd here. He was Mac in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. But you guys never watched that. Yeah, I
never watched it either.
So she never got with Mike, though, did she? It was just alluded that she could at any time.
Nah, I don't think she did.
But Mike was obviously annoyed. Like, he was clearly like, when
I think it was more just jealousy.
Yeah, that relationship was so weird to watch. It was like, what? Like, is this for real? Like,
but also the sort of, maybe it's not passive aggressive, but it's kind of like seeing like Robin Williams' character's face when Mike ends up kind of getting his stuff like published, and everyone's sort of like, and it's sort of like, I wonder if Mike actually knew whether he was a writer or not. Like, Robin Williams' character was a writer.
Yeah.
Because like, if he did, then what the fuck are you doing? Like,
But it's funny because when he's like, the New Yorker's not.
Yeah. And he was sort of acting like it was like no big deal for him. Like, oh really? Oh, was it like, as if he was like trying to egg them on to kind of like rub it in his face.
Yeah, she's like, oh, it's my first time I submitted. He's like, oh, what, first time?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, fuck's sake.
But then later in the film, when Lance gets on TV, Mike's like, well, he's not as big as Oprah. He's like, it's a little like nod to.
Yeah.
It's so well written, this Shaft. Honestly, it's like Riders of Justice. That was well written and all the rest of it. This was something's very original about this. I haven't seen a film like this ever. It was lovely. Yeah, you always choose films with mad twists, actually. Like Jellicatude kicking off, and then the fucking massive horse penis people, and now like this guy's wanking off. Like, the fuck do you find these things?
I don't know.
I'm just like Ford versus Ferrari, Mortal Kombat, Men in Black.
Dave did mention the Weatherman, and I guess you could, this kind of subgenre you could put this in, I think Dave was alluding to, was that sort of middle-aged white man kind of not knowing, like wanting to sort of seek a different direction in his life after he sort of established, after he's kind of had like wife and kids and stuff like that. So like American Beauty, as you said, Weatherman. But the thing is that,
how old was the character meant to be?
I don't know, maybe 50.
Yeah, it felt about 50, didn't it?
Yeah.
How old would Robin Williams have been in 2009? 55-ish, I'd say. I mean, yeah. So what are other films like that? The Weatherman, American Beauty is so obvious, I didn't even mention it.
Possibly Little Children.
Oh, Little Children, yeah.
But I mean, the thing is that what one thing I was going to say about those two films, I think I've told you that I didn't really like Weatherman, and also American Beauty. Rewatching that, I think that doesn't really hold up.
Is that just because it's Kevin Spacey, though, man? Or?
Well, possibly that, but also I think that those two films, it never goes outside of itself to look at that character and go, hold on, you're a bit of an arsehole. And I think where this is different to those films is like, we know he's doing something terrible. He knows he's doing something terrible. When the headmaster at the end says, you're an arsehole, he goes, yep.
Yeah.
Where I think a film like definitely The Weatherman, it never looks outside of itself and goes, hold on, Nicolas Cage's character is a bit of a dick in this film. And
I think it's always suggested, though, isn't it? It's for us, really, isn't it? To go, you're a bit of a dick, but we kind of get it. But,
yeah, maybe. I don't know. It feels like we're on their side.
I suppose. Yeah, I guess because it's just about, God, I'm so bored. I'm just going to do something crazy. What films where sort of a female is in that same situation? I suppose Desperate Housewives, to some extent, was similar, wasn't it? And maybe 6 Feet Under and stuff. And
there's a film called Young Adult. Have you seen that?
No.
That's with Charlize Theron, and she's a writer who goes back to her hometown. I think she was like a bit of a bitch at school to everyone, and like Patton Oswalt's in that film. That's a good film, decent film.
I put some films down that fall under a different kind of genre, which is more when a lie just goes really fucking out of hand. And the two I've written down here are The Informant and Fargo.
Well, have you guys heard of a film called Dear Evan Hansen?
No,
of course we haven't.
Well,
Newlands, have you? No.
Well, it's actually a popular film. It's actually a popular film, but it got completely slated. It came out last year. So what it is Dear Evan Hansen was a musical play, right? It was funny that Andy in the beginning said this could be a West End play. Dear Evan Hansen has got very similar plot to this film. So what it is that
I'm a genius.
So Dear Evan Hansen was a musical play. It was basically, it's about a kid who, I think he's like a lonely kid, and someone is about to start a letter writing Dear Evan Hansen, but then he dies, another kid dies. So then Evan Hansen, the character, finishes the kind of letter, and then he sort of fabricates this lie about this person to kind of make others feel better. But the thing is that that's a film that a lot of people had a problem with, because they had a problem with how manipulative that main character is, and it didn't really address how manipulative. It's like a feel-good film. I mean, apparently there's like lots of issues, because the actor who plays Evan Hansen, he's supposed to be a high school kid, but he looks about 30, and he just it got like a real sort of it got shit upon when it came out. But yeah, it's quite a very similar plot to this film, but this feels like a film that I think gets it right. I think yeah,
it certainly does. But it's fantastic.
So should we talk about what's everyone's sort of like favorite like memories of like Robin Williams, and like as kids, like what were the kind of the films that you liked the most?
Wow.
So Kyle,
I think it's that kind of 3 or 4 year window, isn't it, where it's Aladdin, Hook,
which me and Andy saw in cinema.
Mrs. Doubtfire, yeah. So I'm pretty sure I saw all three of those in the cinema. And then it kind of, when he did like Flubber and stuff, it was a laugh. Yeah, those three for me, definitely. I was never really into like Good Morning Vietnam and Dead Poets Society, but yeah, those three I've seen multiple times.
I feel it's quite sacrilege to say this, and a lot of people boo me, but I was even as a kid, I didn't like Hook.
Wow,
I haven't seen Hook.
What?
Really? Yeah, I know.
I've been on TV so many times.
Yeah, it just never appealed to me.
Oh, fuck off.
Because I watched, you know what I've seen a ridiculous amount of times is the Popeye movie. For some reason, I just had that on VHS.
Oh,
and I watched it so many times.
Is what?
Popeye, yeah.
Film.
That's like a proper random Channel 4 Saturday morning film, isn't it?
Come on.
It's like 1980. It's one of his first films.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe you're choosing these.
Well,
yeah, my favourite, I like Bicentennial Man.
I didn't say it was my favourite. I didn't say it was my favourite. Like Kyle here. I didn't say it was my favourite. I'm just making a point that I watched Popeye quite a lot. To be honest, I'm going to say I actually prefer Robin Williams as a sort of somber actor than a comedic actor.
Yeah.
I think
he's really good. Yeah,
he is a wonderful actor, and he's a great comic actor as well. Don't get me wrong, but I think in films like, you know, Good Will Hunting and stuff, he's fucking brilliant. I think it's as good as it gets in Good Will Hunting and stuff. He is so good, and he's really creepy in 1 Hour Photo and Insomnia and stuff. And,
yeah.
1 Hour Photo, yes.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire is a really nice film. And I really feel like watching Mrs. Doubtfire again because he really plays that well as well when he is like a dad who's in tears and stuff. And The Birdcage is a film
I love that film,
I saw at the cinema.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that.
I watched it at the cinema with my mum and dad, and I haven't seen it since. Good Morning Vietnam. Yeah, I think if you watch that now, that hasn't really aged very well, Good Morning Vietnam, but I liked that when I was young. And I haven't seen Dead Poets Society when I'm talking about liking him as a more serious actor, so I should certainly watch Dead Poets Society. But yeah. But I wasn't thinking about his sort of death whilst watching the film at all. I managed to completely miss that.
Really? I couldn't help but think of it with the hanging scene.
I refused to. I was like, right, especially because of suicide and stuff. And I was like, no, I'm just going to enjoy this. And I think it's just, he plays it so wonderfully, doesn't he? Just the perfect amount of comedy and hardship at the simultaneous. Because I thought his life was just going to fall apart. I thought his bird was going to leave him. I was kind of waiting for him to pick up a gun and just start shooting or something. That's why
falling down, falling down. Yeah.
Oh, mate, yes, that's what we need to review.
I know. Yeah, that's the next film. God, I love that film.
But I tell you what, that is Insomnia. I think is a really underrated performance by him. He's really sort of creepy in that, and 1 Hour Photo as well. Yeah, he's really good at those sort of like like straight roles, but I think it's just that I remember like when Bring the Mood Down, but when it was announced that he died, it was like that was the first thing. It was just like I was like explaining that to a coworker when I found out. I was like, yeah, I understand, because she was younger. I was like, for our generation, like, you know, we were raised up in those films. Like, you know, like how many times have we all seen Mrs. Doubtfire?
I can't believe you guys haven't mentioned this. My favourite film he's ever done.
What Dreams May Come.
It's 1992. It's so good, this film. It's got LL Cool J in it.
Is it Toys?
Yeah. That I remember as a young, or even now, I
saw that at the
love
cinema.
that film.
I guess it was with you, Shafi.
Oh, it's just so good.
I don't even think I've seen it in full. I've only seen a bit of it.
I'm sure Guardians of the Galaxy nicks the bit where the kids were like flying a plane around, and all of a sudden these fucking gold aliens are doing exactly the same thing 25 years later. Toys is up there, honestly. Like, you should rewatch that.
Wasn't there a plot point about like the dangers of video games?
Yeah. Because basically they were using children to fly drones, essentially. Like the military were like,
right,
just using. So like the dad died. It should have gone to Robin Williams, then it went to like the military guy. So he like switched from cuddly toys to like, you know, planes and drones and all the rest of it. The kids would come in, and he had like this mental sister as well. Oh god, it's so LL Cool J's rocking around
Cusack,
like,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Talking about like video games,
Aladdin. Please talk about Aladdin.
No, Robin Williams called his daughter Zelda.
Yeah.
Aladdin is the best video game I've ever played.
It is amazing.
It was so good. It's unbelievable.
I know, it's just not fair. You should be able to play these games. It shouldn't.
Oh, no.
It should be like films. These games should never go.
Trying to escape the fucking, I don't even know what you would call this, the inside of the Lion Mountains mouth volcano pit on the magic carpet with a boot is fucking so difficult. Like, and it was one of the best games of all time, apart from Mega Man.
Yeah, me and you, Andy, we watched that Aladdin in the cinema together, didn't we? I remember you giving me a Christmas present. You gave me like an A3 pad. And that was like, and I remember I kept that for years. I was just drawing in it like non-stop for years and years.
Wow.
I was such a nice kid. I've turned into such a terrible adult.
Where is that pad now?
Man, I'd love to see that pad now.
Would it just be you doing your own anime shit?
Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure I drew every character of Killer Instinct and Street Fighter on that.
It's just 150 pages of big dicks. That's all it was. Just triumphant, veiny motherfuckers.
Shafi on the front is written in that graffiti S that every kid learned to draw at 10 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I invented that. Yeah. Guys, if you think this film is dark, like watch a film called Happiness by Todd Schlons, I think his name. That film is fucking
Mr. Schlong.
It's I tell you what, it's that film. It's a black comedy, but it's black as fuck. Like,
I can't actually believe that was made, even in 1998 or whatever it was, 99. I cannot believe that was made, but it is genius. And it still has one of those laugh out loud moments when you're like, oh my God, that is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen, but I cannot stop laughing.
Yeah.
It is just like, I was crying. Oh my God.
Kyle and Andy, you should have watched it, but then be disturbed for the rest of your life.
I laugh like that in the same manner when he accidentally died whilst masturbating, and I was just like, it's just so deadpan. It was just beautifully delivered, and I was just like, it was a douchebag.
But one of the in the very first scenes is when he's driving him to school, and the first thing he says is, "Got up early this morning."
Yeah. I will say, so one thing we should discuss, because it is funny, but it's also like, it does make you think about losing your kids. Like little basic things, like he didn't clean the mud off of his car where his son had put his feet up.
That's nice, wasn't it?
So like, even though this guy is a horrible kid, as a parent, you are always connected. Like, I thought the way they shot that scene was amazing, because it was I can't exactly remember, but you didn't actually hear Robin Williams crying.
No,
you could hear it kind of internally, because he was like, when he's on the floor, and it was just it was I reckon it was on par with Captain Phillips when Tom Hanks fucking loses it at the end when he gets rescued. Those are the two best crying scenes I've ever seen. Like, Robin Williams is up there, like, well up there.
Yeah, that Captain Phillips scene at the end is just someone who's just basically gone through shock, right? It's just like,
it was incredible.
You can't really compute. You're just almost like not conscious at all. You're just sort of like.
Have any of you seen that film where he's like traveling through heaven and hell because his wife has died or something?
What Dreams May Come, isn't it?
Well, yeah, What Dreams May Come. I even mentioned it earlier. I can remember it. Have any of you seen that?
No, I haven't.
No.
It's quite an interesting film. I quite like it. Remember the trailer was done with Teardrop by Massive Attack, and it just always sat with me. I was like, I really want to see this film. That trailer worked really well.
My understanding, it's a tangent here, but the person who is behind the visual effects of that, he was like a young kid, and then what happened was that the Wachowskis, when they were making The Matrix, they had this idea of bullet time, and they kind of they went to loads of different kind of VFX companies, like even like ILM and stuff like that. And they said, we want to kind of have this effect where, you'll freeze time, but someone kind of moves while it's freezing time. Like, as if like the machine is controlling the world, but you're able to sort of move around it. And the thing is, like, no one could get it right. But then I think there's one like 26-year-old kid that actually kind of created bullet time, where he set up like different still cameras around the kind of actor, and then kind of like shot, press the button so they all take a shot of that actor doing something. You showed that to the Wachowskis and they're like, oh, that's it, you're hired. So he was like head of visual effects at 26 years old.
Fuck my ass. That's so impressive. Yeah, no, you almost take that for granted, don't you? That Matrix special effects, and you're like, not so you don't take it for granted, but you just, that bullet time is so famous, and it's been parodied so many times. It's
that's why I never used it in the sequel, because it just been parodied in like Scary Movie and everything. Yeah,
even Juice Bigelow and stuff like that, which is one of the funniest films ever made. Viewers,
oh god, I love that film.
Never seen that.
Oh my god, Andy,
please.
The sequel's so crap, funny. But it's so good, the original.
Even the sequel has moments. I just don't get how Rotten Tomatoes can give that 18%. Like, how can you not just switch your brain off for an hour and a half and enjoy that on the level? It's so funny.
Has anyone else got anything to say about this film?
Big shout out to how good an actor Robin Williams is. Not that we haven't mentioned it, but just what an incredible actor.
Yeah,
I really miss him talking about him tonight, actually.
Yeah.
He is one of those famous people that I actually miss.
Also, another thing was that, from what I've heard, is that whatever film he was on, whenever the cameras were switched off, we were talking about in Singing in the Rain, like, what's his name? Donald O'Connor.
Yeah. Funny face.
He was, whenever the cameras were switched off, he knew that the energy, like whenever he saw like the energy was low, he would just basically start performing to them, just as in order to sort of, and apparently people that sort of interacted with him, like fans and stuff like that, they just said he was like the nicest person. Like, always sort of kind of got to know everyone, and like, had time to like sign, photos and take photos of them. And he was just apparently just one of the kind of nicest, people.
And it's always that sad cliche, isn't it? Where, and then all of a sudden one day they kill themselves. It's just like, fucking hell.
You see that the pain is very crazy.
Yeah, they spend all this time trying to make everyone else happy.
That's why it feels quite a tough film to watch, because possibly he read the script and thought something about this is like speaking to him, it is really difficult to watch, because when he's reading out that, because the whole like montage of like them imagining, the ghost of him, but that's all to the narration of that suicide note. And just listening to that, knowing what we know about Robin Williams, it's really, it's
so about 3 weeks ago, before you even announced this film, Shafi, someone on Reddit shared an article that his wife wrote about how he died and what caused his death, what caused him to commit suicide, etc. I want to read it out, but it's really long, so I think I'll put the link in the description. But I mean, the article is called "The Terrorist Inside My Husband's Head," and it's really sad, really interesting, but really sad read. Basically, when he died,
didn't he know he was? He had a disease. He was going to lose his mind.
Yeah, so he lost all of his dopamine neurons in his brain. When they scanned his brain after he died, he'd lost all of the dopamine neurons. So
oh my God.
He literally just felt nothing. He was just empty all the time.
Wow. God.
So yeah, it's a really good read. So I'll put that in the description of this episode.
Yeah, do man. Right.
Then just imagine, but I'm sure at the same time he was sort of performing like comedy bits and stuff like that while that was happening. And yeah, it's just really sad. And
it is really sad, mate.
And it's just it's something that it's just sort of a struggle that people are kind of going through, and you never know, the people that you think are kind of the happiest and most positive, you don't know what sort of pain they're going through.
Yeah, it's just, I hate I feel guilty using that word cliche, but it really is, isn't it? It's just like, gosh, the crying clown and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm like welling up. Jeez, man. Because you guys were saying, he was such a big part of our childhood, wasn't he? My God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best thing that's come out of this, actually. It's recognising the impact he had. I even remember watching the stand-up stuff he used to do, like when back in the day when Whoopi Goldberg was just a stand-up, before the film, their careers went to that next like film star stage.
What is Robin Williams? Is he a comedian or an actor? What is his first love? I know
he broke
was
out
like
as a comedian
performer.
first.
Yeah,
and
comedian
foremost.
first. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
And then he got into TV.
He probably had no formal like acting training. It was just from stand up, and I've not googled that. It might not be true, but
and he was a mad bastard. You know, he was a proper rock and roll comedian as well through the 70s. Drinks, drugs, fucking crazy shit. Like, you know, operating at this insane level.
Okay, rest in peace, Robin Williams. Big toast to you. You were a big part of our life, and
exactly.
I selected this film in order to celebrate how great of a person he is. So, cool. Anything else about this film? Or
oh god, this film has put me off having children. Let's just say that.
Fuck me. Well, honestly, the worst. Literally the worst.
But the thing is that I mean, I can imagine the kid Kyle could have been like a sweet kid. He could have been like as a young kid. He could have been sweet, and then when you go through teenage, and then you sort of discuss
the mom crazy things. They don't mention the mom that much, do they? So obviously some shit.
Not at all. Not even one. I don't think they
mentioned once. She's like, they mentioned your mom. He's like, no. Yeah.
Her boyfriend.
Gosh,
He's got a boyfriend.
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so gitty. When he buys in the computer, he's like, yeah, it's not the biggest one, but oh, for fuck's! I just could be like, well, I'm fucking taking it back, you prick.
Yeah, he's like supposed to watch a film with him. And he's like, well, we just go out for dinner later. He's like, okay, fine, I'll watch the film by myself.
When they get out of the car after all three of them have been for dinner, and he's like talking to him like he's his mate at college. He's like, yeah. I love that scene. Shut up.
That's actually quite. I found that quite sad when you look back, because it was like, fuck, where they actually, their last interaction was actually quite a good one.
Yeah, because it was fun. It would have been funny, wouldn't it? You would have looked back.
I mean, good's probably not the right word, but it was like, it was like, fuck, maybe this kid might actually like.
But she doesn't hear him. But he says to the woman, "See you, whore." But she doesn't hear him.
He's like, sort of, I'm sort of ad-libbing here, but he's like, "Yeah, Dad, you're going to totally hit that tonight, aren't you?" So that's why you want to get rid of me.
It is mad when he goes into the room and he like sees the phone, deletes the stuff on the computer, picks up the tissues. Like, fucking hell! Like,
but wait there. So he sent that image to loads of people, didn't he?
No, I think he just enlarged.
I think he just put it on his computer.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought because I thought
he was going to text Andrew, but he
was
pressing it, and there were different numbers coming up. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but I think they were like
he's only got one friend. He's only got one friend, Shafi. So who was he texting? A bit like you.
I don't have any friends. I've just got my imaginary friend.
Jokey.
Yeah.
When Newlands and I lived together, we had a mutual agreement that if either of us found each other like that, we'd sort it all out and do a more dignified.
You know what? That's true, isn't it? I think we've had this conversation. If we ever found one another dead in a compromising position, we'd cover it up. I'm sure we actually have.
I mean, but who? But I mean, are either of you good writers to write a good suicide note that will kind of end up?
Yeah, but we're both dumbasses, so he doesn't need to be good. It'd be like, that doesn't sound like Dave. That was quite poetic. all of a sudden we're up for a murder charge. It's like, wait, no, he was a fixie wanking. I didn't murder him. I just tried to clear it up. That's all. Like, fuck him. I'm not backing him up anymore.
Okay, so I think let's go to one word reviews then, right?
It's the one word review. The one word review. The one word review from us to you.
Except for Carl, who says, "Oh, that's fucking quality."
Okay, cool. So the fact that Kyle switched his mic off, I don't think he wants me to go to him just yet. So Andy, what's your one word review of this film?
Sharp.
And Kyle, what's your one word review for this film?
I don't have one. Sorry.
Tissues.
Yeah. I don't. At least I know.
I know, because there's so many different things to say about this film.
I'm trying to think of something funny, and I literally can't think of anything funny.
Okay, Dave, what's your one word review of the film?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Okay.
I'm going to say hidden gem.
Hidden gem. Nice. Cool. Right.
So yeah, thank you, Shafi, for choosing this. You said it's not many people have seen it, so no one's going to listen to this episode. So cheers,
no. Yeah, maybe we should in the episode description
just do like hashtags. Scott Adkins isn't in this, and maybe just the Adkins name will fucking generate some sort of interest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's just pretend we're talking about Ninja One. Let's title it. Let's title it Ninja One. Okay, cool. So right now, the next episode is Andy's choice. So I'm very excited to learn what film has Andy chosen for our next episode. Over to you, Andy.
All right. So we're going off in a little bit of a different direction for the next one. So this one, funnily enough, is from a colleague of mine who listens to Who Dropped the Popcorn, and he has been going on and on and on at me about watching this film. It is a film. Yeah. His name's Joe Bobcat.
Wow.
It is a film documentary, and I did agree with you guys at the restaurant the other night that we're okay. So I know I did a while ago the TT one, and we discussed Senna
really
and
that one.
Yeah, wanking.
Yeah,
again.
I haven't seen this, so I don't know. I don't know if even I'm going to like it, but apparently it's well up there. So I'm hoping you haven't seen it. But it's 2014, and it's called All This Mayhem. So we'll see what happens.
Nice, sounds good.
So get in touch with us. Please send any questions, comments, praise, hate mail, or one-word reviews to the popcorn postbag at whodroppedthepopcorn@gmail.com, or follow, harass us on Twitter at whopopcorn, or on Instagram and TikTok at whodroppedthepopcorn. You can also leave a review on your podcast app, and please remember to like and subscribe. You've been listening to Who Dropped the Popcorn. We really appreciate it. See you soon. Laters.
Bye.
Right, I'll go for a wank. Cheers.